Right then, Manchester United go into this game a lot more confident than we did in midweek, I would say. We've got back-to-back victories now in the league and the Carabao Cup. It's 4 wins in a row for United against Palace. And it's not just that we picked up a win, it was that we picked up a win with what was probably our best performance of the season. And before everyone goes, it was Palace reserves. Yeah, and it was also United reserves, but it's a low bar, lads. And it was our best performance of the season. Palace were held to a goalless draw at home to Fulham in the last league outing, and they currently sit just a point behind us this weekend. Hopefully we extend that to 4 come tea time on Saturday. Now, Palace could be without as many as 9 players for the trip to Old Trafford this week. We did a bit of a run through about how Palace play earlier in the week, obviously, ahead of the preview in the Cup. Roy Hodgson decided to make several changes to the starting 11, and their play was extremely disjointed, and I think a large part because of that. And we saw very few reminiscences of what they're like tactically because of the changes that we saw to that team, and that team just wasn't good enough to be able to cope with United. With them fielding what I believe will be their strongest 11 this weekend, we could see a bit more structure to them. So, as we said, under Hodgson, Palace have lined up in a 4-2-3-1. They utilise the dynamic pace of the forwards to really do anything that they do. There is an argument to be made that Hodgson's tactics really do rely on the individual quality of people. He's very direct with it. I think they put the most long balls in the league or thereabouts. They have outlets, they have runners, and they try and create space in behind. Now, it is something that can be effective for them. I don't think it's extremely effective for them at the moment, and they're struggling a little bit. I mean, even as you saw against Fulham last weekend, but it is something that I believe can be effective for them. In a league that's increasingly becoming possession-based, in a league that's increasingly looking to press from the front, in a league where teams are defending on the halfway line, if you are a direct football team that's going to go into the channel and look to turn teams around and get in behind, and you've got the pace, the dribbling, the trickery, the 1v1 quality that Palace have, you are going to pick up points because you are going to be a threat. It's as simple as that for me. Now, the sheer pace and unpredictability of that forward line means that if they get to go full throttle, get the space and the access to that space in behind, there's not a lot you can do to stop it. Nobody can defend once the defender's already gone past them. You're heavily relying on the pace of your centre-halves, and typically wingers do tend to be a little bit pacier than centre-halves that they're coming up against. So, with that vertical nature, wanting both fullbacks to get involved, wanting the midfielders to join the attack often, it leaves them vulnerable. So the lack of compactness that Crystal Palace have gives you a chance to be able to get on the turn and beat them. And that's what we saw a lot of in midweek. Eze didn't start. He's going to be someone that we really have to look out for because he is the main person in terms of creativity for Crystal Palace. Predicted 11 for this weekend. It looks like it's going to be Johnson, Ward, Anderson, Gay, Mitchell, Doucouré, Hughes, Ayew, Eze, Schlupp, and Mateta, and Starman Eze rested against us in the midweek. They paid for it. Let's hope we don't pay for him being rested. He's one of the best dribblers in the Premier League. Completed 25 successful take-ons in the league, which is the most by any player this season, and 9 more than the nearest player. So you can't discount just how good this guy is 1v1. You also can't discount how much he's absolutely going to run you every single time he gets the opportunity. So be aware of that, prepare for that, and maybe try and deal with that ahead of him running you ragged. He is a massive threat on goal. He's a massive threat on goal from distance, and he's deadly from set pieces. So he is the one that you're really going to have to deal with. If you deal with Eze, you can deal with everybody else in their team, no problem. But he's the one that is a star man for them. In terms of my United 11, I actually really liked Amrabat at left back, and I liked the way he was inverting into the half space. I thought that gave a lot of protection to Casemiro, and maybe Ten Hag was onto something, and maybe there's a little bit more to it than that. So what I'm anticipating is going to happen here is United are going to line up 4-2-3-1. I'm going to go Dalot at right back. I'm going to go Amrabat at left back. And I'm going to go Lindelof and Varane because I think Martinez is still probably going to be out. And I think that's a nice solid back line for United. My only worry is how is Amrabat Amrabat going to deal with being dribbled at? That's something we don't necessarily know, and that could be a big weakness for this team. But I think Ten Hag's going to roll with it because it's like it's him, or it's Delo, or it's Lindelof, and I think he'd be fine there. Casemiro, Mount, Bruno. I wonder if Anthony plays off the right-hand side, given the news that we heard this morning. Rashford on the left, and Højlund up front. That could be a tasty little setup for Manchester United. And I think what's really important in this is how we're going to actually see the best of each player in this position. You're going to create a bit of a square out of Amrabat, out of Casemiro, out of Mount, out of Bruno. It's going to give you loads of opportunities to rotate the ball. I think you're giving a lot of help to Casemiro by having Amrabat inverting there. It allows United to build up in that kind of 3-2, going, Delo, through Varane and Lindelof, and then you can get Amrabat and Casemiro on the ball just ahead of them outside the D. I can see what Ten Hag is trying to do, and I fucking like it, man. And it'll be interesting to see what happens when we have a fully fit left back, where he starts to then position Amrabat and how he moves the rest of that team around. But these circumstances that we've got right now, I actually like it. And I think the match winner for United is going to be Mason Mount. I think he was so good against Crystal Palace Tuesday, coming off the best game that we've seen him have in a United shirt. I think he will feel comfortable. He will bring a new dynamic to us. He makes us far more combative and energetic in midfield. Add that to Amrabat coming in as well. And midfield is where the game will be won and lost. I have a feeling he's going to nick another goal and probably have a say in creating something as well. As always, my preview is brought to you guys by Parimatch UK. I give you a bet boost midweek, and it came in. And I've been really close with a lot of my predictions so far this season, but last week's came in. So let's see what I fancy for this week. I've got something special for you guys. How would you like the chance to win a £50 free bet? Parimatch UK have launched their completely free to play football prediction game, which is called Hat Trick Hunt. Every week, you're going to get the chance to predict 3 scores from the Premier League with free rewards for every correct prediction that you make. Get all 3 correct, and you're going to get a £50 free bet. It's that simple. Here's what I'm going for this week. I'm going for Everton to beat Luton 2-1. I think it'll be a very, very close game. I think Luton are far off the pace. Everton are far off the pace. But I think Everton will just have enough at home, especially to Luton. They're going to get it. United and Palace, I'm going to go 2-0. Which is not quite as emphatic as it was midweek, but I think United are good enough to win 2-0, and 2-0 will be a nice, comfortable game for us. That's what we're going for. And then Tottenham and Liverpool is the game that could go either way, but I think Tottenham have been very impressive, and they've missed in a couple of games where they've been better than their results have given them credit for, particularly Arsenal last weekend. And I think Liverpool are flattered to deceive a little bit, so I'm going to go 2-1 Tottenham-Liverpool. Do you agree with the predictions? Do you have any better ones that you would like to give? Let me know in the comments. And if you'd like to get involved yourself, click the link below. You've got to be 18 and over, and full terms and conditions do apply. Once again, thanks to Parimatch UK for sponsoring today's video. Now, how do we beat them? You got to watch for the wide overloads. Their wingers don't track back. They cheat upfield. And I think having that 3-2 build-up really allows United to sort of exploit what they're going to do in the centre of the park there. Their fullbacks also get left on solo against people. So if you can push men forward and exploit them 2v1, you're going to have a big time of that as well. Mitchell had a real tough time with Delo getting forward and overlapping. He couldn't really do anything. The back four is narrow defensively, and big switches of play can really kill them. Amrabat did it well. I saw Mount getting involved doing that sort of stuff. So I would be looking to switch the ball, because if you can transition on them fast, because they have such an aggressive attack, you can switch on them fast. You can just go straight into the box and you can get a shot off. If you win the ball in a bit of a weird area for them, they will get numbers behind the ball and they will kind of try and low block you. If that's happened, then you've got to start using the switches of play, and the switches of play will be really effective against them. But transitions is where this game is won and lost. And I thought we neutralised that really well in the week. Now, they will have better players to hit us on the transition with, But I still think that is where the game will be won and lost. We have to be tidy in possession, especially in the first phase. And I think building up in that 3-2 is going to be a big bonus for us doing that. They're vulnerable when opposition regain and their fullbacks are a little bit high. So if we can transition well, whilst their fullbacks are getting a little bit adventurous, you're relying on Gay and Richards' athleticism for them to cope 1v1. And I think with some of the pace that United have got in the forward line, the likes of Højlund, the likes of Rashford, and then whoever it is, it could be Anthony on the right-hand side, you really could damage them. Runs and attacking the space, where the fullbacks are vacated, is how you're going to hurt them. Fulham got in time and time again. They just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. United are better than Fulham, and we will put the ball in the back of the net. Let me know your thoughts and predictions in the comments below, and I'll see you lot in the next one. Laters. Hey, thank you for watching the video. If you are new around these parts, then don't forget to subscribe. My channel is proudly supported by my community on Patreon. If you'd like to get a little bit of extra content, a Discord group, meetups, five-a-side games, weekly podcasts, behind the scenes, and even an occasional bit of transfer news as and when I get it, then for the price of a pint, you can show your appreciation for the content that we make and get some goodies for doing so as well. Check the link in the description or click the button right here. You'll also find all of my socials here too if you want to follow me on any of those platforms. Nice one.